Living, where you learn the secrets of having a balanced, happy, joyful life full of beauty, and once in a while we're going to give you a good fashion tip. All right, go ahead. Don't look at my tie today. I would not vouch for it as far as fashion, but I thought it was
Pretty
cool.
good. You're fine.
All right.
So we've been talking about alkaline diet. Is it really good for you? We think it is. But does it really have to be called alkaline diet? Does it have a lot to do with the pH, or is it just because the content is good? It's good for us. We don't know if the pH plays a role or not, but using the theory is something that's popular right now. So we're exploring it. So we talked about what's superfood, what's good for alkalizing the not the blood, the urine, which has a lot to do with it. Some people say, when your body is a little bit acidic, well, you know what, the body, when we say are very tightly regulated, that means it will not be acidic. When you are acidic, I've seen those patients. They're in ICU. They're dying.
Oh, it's absolutely true. I mean, I definitely want to get on the record as agreeing with Dr.
Right.
Lee on that. If your blood pH goes a little bit to the acidic or a little bit to the alkaline, you're in trouble. So,
yes.
yeah, that we're not talking about blood pH. We're talking about the urine pH. Now, here's the indication: the slightly in the blood, the slightly to the right or the slightly to the left. The reason you're measuring your urine, if your urine is acidic for a few days and then it's back to alkaline, or it's on again, off again, you're probably going to be just fine. It's just an indication of over years, if you're acidic, your blood just might be in that disease. You're going to be in disease range whether or not it's because you're alkaline.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It's not beneficial for you.
It's not beneficial.
Right.
Good term.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many factors that would change your urine pH. Exercise being one, we talked about that.
And don't worry if you worked out really hard and the next day your pH is acidic. Don't worry, it's a natural outcome.
The reason you shouldn't worry is because it means your kidneys, your body, is working well. Mm-hmm. It's excreting all this acid, so your body is actually normal.
And that's what I kind of meant earlier in the show, is that when I was losing weight, it was as a real result of exercise. I wasn't taking diet pills. I was just eating natural good foods, and then I was exercising, losing weight. That waste is acidic.
That's right. So the worst food to have, meaning that the more acidic stuff that you should avoid for health reasons, not only for the pH reasons. Mm-hmm. First one on the list, soda.
Yes. If I could talk about that for just a moment. So all of you Diet Coke drinkers out there, Coke got a really bad name, but it isn't just Coke. It was just the fact that people were drinking, people loved Coke because it was a great flavor, and also it was diet, so they thought they could drink a ton of it, and it was also had caffeine in it, so it was addictive, and so they drank a ton of it, okay? And so over the years, they found out that women that were drinking Diet Coke were actually having osteoporosis at a high rate, extremely high rate, and then so Diet Coke got a really bad name. But poor Diet Coke, it's all soda that is causing that problem, and you can pH balance to the direction even though it's hard. Go ahead.
Right, so the best thing to drink is what?
Water.
Oh, I thought you were going to say beer.
That would be it, yeah.
Beer is actually the second one on the list, being acidic.
Oh, I thought you said what should you drink.
No,
yeah.
I was just joking.
Oh, you're joking.
So basically,
beer is not good. Yeah, I thought
water is the best drink.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're not trying to gain weight.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if you're trying to grow and gain weight, milk is okay.
Yeah, it does. There's some calories in there.
But if you're not trying to grow and gain weight, water is the purest, safest, and best source of hydration.
Assuming it is pure and safe. So in other words, drink good water.
That's right. We're going to talk about what's good water in just a minute.
Mm-hmm.
The beer is also acidic, more so than wine.
That's true. It's arguable, even though I don't drink wine either, never have, never will. However, some people argue that wine is actually slightly alkaline.
Right. It's more alkaline than beer, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Processed food, what exactly you would say are examples of processed food?
Processed food, we were just discussing maltodextrin. My wife came home with no sugar added cocoa for my kids. And I said, well, let's look at the ingredients. So we looked at the and she said, see, it's maltodextrin. There's not sugar in it. And so let's go look up maltodextrin. My son took the challenge, and he said, maltodextrin is made out of food starch and has no taste and is not necessarily bad for you. I said, well, hold on just a second. Let's go maltodextrin versus sugar. It has the same calories as sugar, and it's heavily processed, made out of food starch. You might as well eat sugar than maltodextrin, number one. But this is what we're talking about. When you finally get all the research with processed foods, maltodextrin being one of the major ingredients, it's just not good.
I want to take a step back. I think it's safe to eat or drink anything in moderation.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, you can't completely avoid.
Besides strychnine, things of this nature.
Yeah, yeah, but
anything that's not going to kill you.
You know, exactly. You know, so moderation and balance is still the most important thing. But we're just trying to clarify what is processed, so we can be moderate on it. Things like lunch meat, especially hot dogs, they're processed.
Very processed.
Canned foods. I think dehydrated foods are better, but they're somewhat slightly processed, not as much. Fried food, or things like potato chips, they're processed foods. So, everything in the grocery store, somebody said, give me a good example. If you walk around peripheral, things are not in the boxes, not in the cans. They're more healthy. They're less processed.
And if I could share, I didn't go out to not eat processed foods. I just did research on what I should be eating, and by the time I eat everything that I should each day, I don't really have room left anymore to eat the processed foods.
That brings up another interesting question. People believe you have to be eating vegetables to be skinny.
Okay.
It is true, but it isn't. If you only eat fatty things, but small quantity, you can be skinny too.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you want to eat same quantity, then you got to go to the low-fat stuff.
Very true.
Or more quantity.
Very, very true. But here's an example. I can eat 2 quarts of chicken salad, and it has the same number of calories as 1 Big Mac. That gives you an indication.
That's right. That's right.
You have much higher quantity of food.
So we will actually touch on the alkaline water real quick.
Yes, alkaline water, which I've been drinking alkaline water for a year, and it hasn't balanced me. Well, but it hasn't balanced me, so I think I might swing over to your side. Go ahead.
So basically, first the question is, the bottom line we want to know if alkaline diet is safe. So whenever, it's relatively safe for a healthy person who doesn't have kidney problems, metabolic problems, and all that. But anyways, you should always check with your doctor before you start any diet, including alkaline diet. Another thing that goes related to this is the alkaline water. Actually, alkaline water, there are different kinds of alkaline water. There are naturally occurring alkaline water, which is a mineral water.
Sure.
That came from spring, went through the nature, and picked up some minerals on the way.
By the way, that's the whole origination of our modern day soda, is that they used to take mineral water that came up out of the spring, and they sold it as a natural cure-all tonic, right, in the old days. And then Coca-Cola picked it up and said, well, if it's a natural tonic, then we can make soda out of this, and blah, blah, from there, right?
Unfortunately, when you do things to it, it's not natural anymore, right?
Exactly.
So there's the other kind of alkaline water that's artificially alkalized. So those, I think there are machines they sell. They can alkalize water. They are different. They do produce a alkaline water by pH strip. The both are, in the high range, but their mechanism in the body is completely different. So when you're drinking the natural water, you can't become overly alkaline. just from drinking natural water. But what can you do that with the artificially alkalized water? It's difficult too, but you don't want to.
Okay.
It's not good for you. So, like we were talking about in the breaks, if your blood pH is altered, either too acidic or too alkaline, you could be long dead.
Well, we just have been joined by Dr. Kim, who is a holistic doctor in this arena, and she just in the last 48 hours advised me not to drink my normal water. If you would, Dr. Kim, would you mind, and we'll kind of end this segment of the show on this topic, but what, and we actually got cut off in our conversation, so why is it that somebody should not be drinking 9.5 pounds of water, for example?
For example, I'm a strong proponent of being natural, and so water that is artificially transformed into producing a certain pH. There's pH anytime a body is said to do something, there's a verb attached to it. Physiologically, there's an enzyme attached to that, and so knowing that every enzyme has an optimal pH, where it functions optimally, and an optimal temperature. So if it's taken out of that pH and temperature, it won't work as well. So there's a natural way of segmenting, our GI tract is amazing. So our stomach is supposed to be at a pH of roughly, doctor, one or two. So anything that's going to directly neutralize that pH, because there's enzymes that are there's things that need to be happening at
also
that
killing
pH.
the bacteria,
Yeah.
getting the digestion started.
That's extremely interesting.
So if you drink something like 9.5 and it absolutely starts to shift the pH naturally in the stomach, that's not necessarily good. So as far as an alkaline diet, now that doesn't mean you just take baking soda and you just start chugging it down. It's not what you're doing.
Yeah, we heard that earlier, right?
So alkaline diet, so what Dr. Lee was saying was that there's different things. Natural minerals will naturally alkalinize certain things. And if that is a product of nature, then that's okay. But if it's artificially done, something isn't quite right. So what our body's going to do is, if you eat dark leafy green vegetables and your diet is mostly comprised of plants and fresh plants and vegetables and fruit, and you're eating that, and that allows your body to be more alkaline, and it allows your body to be the way it's supposed to be, or as alkaline as it wants to be at the time, because it can't always be too alkaline all the time, because that pH, everything has to be in balance. And if you give your body a chance to do that by giving it the foods that it needs to, then it'll do what it's supposed to do.
Give me a huge aha. It looks like we're about to go to break. But if I could end by summarizing in this way, tell me if I'm right or wrong, that essentially what's the reason why you should alkalize your body with natural nutrients is that you need your body to be acidic, because that's the way it's meant to be.
In parts, yeah.
Yeah,
In
the stomach. Yeah, and did I say body? I meant stomach.
In your stomach.
Yeah, in your stomach. And that it should be the natural processing of the food that alkalizes your body later on. In other words, when it gets into the bloodstream, when it goes through your cells, not directly in your stomach.
Right.
So drinking that water with no nutrients, a little bit counterproductive.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to go to break. When we come back, we'll probably discuss this a little bit more. We're also going to have a couple of health tips for you to take with you throughout the week to see if we can help you become even more healthy. Don't go away. We'll be right back after the break. This is Kurt Wilhelm, your co-host of the Ageless Living Show here on World Talk Radio and Voice America.
And this is Dr. Tong Lee. We'll be right back.